Call the meeting to order at this time. If you would, Ms. Stennett, please do the invocation. Ms. James, if you would, lead us in the pledge, please.
Bow your heads, please. Make a beginning in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Lord, thank you for bringing us together to do your bidding for the citizens of Fort Oglethorpe. Guide us, Lord, with our thoughts, words, and deeds, that all we say, think, and do will be to your glory. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is reading of the minutes of the previous council meeting. If members of council have had an opportunity to review these, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda, communications from the mayor. I think summertime's here. We had the opening ceremonies at the ball field Saturday, and it was extremely hot. Mr. Rogers has got his coat on right now, but if he didn't have, you could see how hot it was because his arms are about the color of Mr. Crawford's shirt there. So it was a good day. It was kind of a contrast. Last year we were all hunting coffee and sweatshirts and everything we could put on to stay warm, and this year everybody was burning up. But good day, good ceremony, good job, Mr. Crawford. Next item on the agenda, zoning matters, we have none. Next item on the agenda, ordinances. Item number 1 under ordinance, second reading for ordinance number 2019-16. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-16, rezoning be ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Huckman Family Partners LP and known as MAP 0020A015 584 Pine Grove Access Road is hereby rezoned to an R5 zoning. Said property is particularly described in the exhibit attached here to. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair the other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. This second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I think we might have to change the numerical order on these things.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Let's just go ahead and make that correction for everybody, so we have everything correct here. We've omitted item number 2 there for some reason. So I think to keep them in line with the way they were on the previous ones, if we would, everybody just make that adjustment and make each one of the numerical numbers that's in front of these readings, just bump it up 1.
Yeah, skip 2.
So we'll make this one item number 2, the second reading for annexation, ordinance number 2019-17. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019, annexation, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by ERTH LLC and known as MAP 0010B036 portion, Emerson Drive, is hereby annexed into the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Said property is particularly described in the deed attached here to as Exhibit A. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. This is second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 3 under ordinances, second reading for rezoning, Ordinance number 2019-18. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-18, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by ERTH LLC and known as MAP 0010B036 portion, Emerson Drive, is hereby rezoned to a C2 zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A, deed attached here to is Exhibit A. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. This is second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 4, under ordinances, second reading for rezoning, ordinance number 2019-19. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-19, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by North Georgia Realty 1 and known as MAP 0003C042000A, Cloud Springs Road, is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception AL zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached here too. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. Second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next item on the agenda, under ordinance, item number 5, second reading for rezoning, ordinance number 2019-20. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-20, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by North Georgia Realty 1 and known as MAP 003C043 1856 Cloud Springs Road is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception AL zoning. Said property is particularly described in the deed attached as Exhibit A. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part to be held invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. Second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 6, under ordinances, second reading for rezoning, ordinance number 2019-21. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-21, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by North Georgia Realty 1 and known as MAP 0003C044 1870 Cloud Springs Road is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception L zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A, a deed attached here too. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. Second reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 7, under ordinances, second reading for rezoning, ordinance number 2019-22. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2019-22, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Appalachian Properties LLC and known as MAP 0013B025 portion only, Battlefield Crossing, is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Said property is particularly described in the deed attached as Exhibit A here too. Section 2, If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance, unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. This ordinance, Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by mayor and council. This is second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. We have none. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business. We have none. Next item, reading the city clerk of any communications. We have none. Next item on the agenda, new business. Item number 1 under new business, proposed approval of engineering services CTI task order number 2019-01, extends Scruggs Road Sewer. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It should be task order 2019-08. It's a typo there, but this is very limited engineering service to prepare basically the bid documents, to advertise, get all the documents out to bid, and then very limited engineering administrative services if we run into any issues. To extend this particular line, it's actually up Cobb Parkway. It's 705 feet. That's what this is. It's task order $7,000. The construction, we will, myself or 1 or 2 of my guys will watch after the construction on this particular project. It'll be no longer than it is 700 feet. It shouldn't take too long to complete that.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda, city manager's report. Ms. Simpkins is out of town, so we'll have to double up on her next month. Next item on the agenda, city council comments. Mr. Child.
No comments, Mayor.
Mr. Crawford.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you to Craig and Jeff Long, Mark Cope, Robert Keefe, Corey Stanford, a lot of the other folks out at the rec. The opening ceremonies, it was kind of a combined opening closing ceremonies that we had. It was really nice, and if you were there, you heard the mayor give a really nice speech about the importance of the coaches and the parents as well, and it was really, really well received, I think, and I just appreciate all the folks involved and all that they do.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Ms. James.
Don't forget that the kiddos will be out of school pretty soon, so be sure and watch out for them this summer.
This is last week in Catoosa. Thank you, Ms. James. Ms. Stinnett.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Saturday night, if you missed hearing General George S. Patton's grandson speak for the 6th Cavalry Museum, you missed something that was historic and life-changing to hear him speak. So I hope if you ever get that opportunity again that you guys will take advantage of it. And tell you about June 29th, we've got another ball game, vintage baseball at Barnhart Circle. And speaking of the kids getting out of school, which by the way, 4 more days now, not that I'm counting, 4 more days, kids are out of school. Summer programs, YMCA, 6th Cavalry Museum. Keep them thinking through the summer and keep them occupied. That'll keep them out of trouble and keep them ready to go back to school when the time comes. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stinnett. Next item on the agenda, citizens' petitions and requests. Mr. Brown.
Do I sign in?
No, sir, it's not necessary. You
Name
would
is,
state your name, though.
Yes, sir. Name's Christopher Brown. I'm the son of Leroy Brown and Clara Brown. Like my grandfather says, I got something to gripe about. I have properties to pay taxes on. And Lord, do I have the taxes. What I'm here for, I was promised by Burkhart, and he had a city inspector with him. I'd have to get my brother-in-law involved, which is Howard Wildtire. He's a retired captain from Dalton PD. He was there when we had to talk about, I was promised I'd have the sewer. And that's why I brought my property into this. Even the preacher was there at Cedar Hill Baptist Church. And I'm just simply asking the question, is this going to ever happen? Or am I just going to keep paying taxes for nothing? Simple question, yes or no?
Well, that was before me, so I really don't know the details.
Well,
How many years ago was that, sir?
I'm sorry, second ma'am.
How many years ago was that when Mr. Burkhart, Mr. Walthour was?
Lord, I don't know, ma'am. Y'all put his wife in jail once or twice, and he's had a glorious rebound down here several times. I'm just interested in getting something that was promised, and that's I'm sitting on property that I can't do nothing with no more. I can't sell it because if I sell it, y'all don't approve it. My brother-in-law just got shot down by y'all, Howard Walthour. I'm just trying to get out of this position I'm in, paying money and getting nothing for it. I'm thinking about going back to Catoosa County if I can. That's all I have to say at this time.
How would we affect if you sold any property? I don't know.
By saying no. Just recently, some property was shot down. They wanted to put in a elderly for the elderly, and they offered to even hook up to the sewer, but y'all shot it down. Howard Walthour. I'm pretty sure you and Earl Grey are very familiar with it.
Okay, yeah. So.
That's all I have to say. I just want something done.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Next item on the agenda is executive session. We do not have anything for executive session tonight. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.